Hi everyone, welcome back to Teens at Boys and Girls Clubs of Western Pennsylvania's YouTube channel. I'm Miss Emily, and today we are talking about power skills, specifically communication. So first I want to recap. If you saw my last video, the intro to power skills, you already know what a power skill is. So power skills are most commonly referred to as soft skills, and they are career skills that are absolutely necessary for work. They help you to navigate your work environment, to work well with people, perform well, achieve your goals, for instance, getting a promotion. And these soft skills, power skills that we're going to talk about, combine with hard skills, such as knowledge that is particular to the medical industry, the trades, information technology. So the difference is that power skills are transferable. They can work in any job or career, whereas hard skills are particular. You only need them depending on what type of work you are doing. So today, we're going to focus on communication. And there are two kinds of communication. There is verbal communication and nonverbal communication. So today, we're just going to talk about verbal communication, which is expressing ideas through words so that people can either hear or read them. So writing is technically verbal communication because nonverbal communication is more about your body language and your eye contact and things we'll talk about later. But even just talking about verbal communication, it is everywhere in the job market, right? And things that we need to realize is that communication, right off the bat, it's a two-way street. So there's both the need to communicate when you're expressing and sharing your ideas with someone, and the need to be able to communicate as in listening and receiving information, ideas, words from someone. And this can be whether you are talking, recording your voice, making a YouTube video, writing like in a book or an email or a paper or a proposal, and you can receive information in all of those same ways. So communication is really like the keystone to most all power skills, most all other power skills. It is directly related to networking, customer service, leadership, teamwork, collaboration, and social emotional intelligence. So if you watched the intro to power skills video, you know that I listed examples of at least 10 different types of power skills. And right now I've just named 6 that directly connect to communication. And frankly, I could go on talking about presentations, public speaking. The possibilities really are endless. Conflict resolution. These all have to do with communication. So you can see that it is pivotal to work on your communication skills if you're considering how do I work on power skills and really boost those and make myself a really ideal candidate no matter what job market I want to go into, even if I'm not sure which one I want to do yet. Think about even if you own your own business and you have no employees, you are a company of one. Communication is involved because you likely serve clients. Your business is intended to provide a product to someone, so you need to be able to communicate to those people. And you probably outsource things like doing your taxes and working with banks. And so you need to be able to communicate even if you own your own business. So that's really not an excuse to not work on your communication. Plus, as you're going to see in an example that I'll give in a minute, it is also very helpful in your personal life. So communication is so important for interviews, even just taking that first step to get your job. If your communication skills aren't honed in, you're not going to ace the interview. You need to be able to express in an interview who you are, why you want this job, and why you should be hired. And that is both in your application when you're writing and in your verbal face-to-face interview, or even on a phone interview. So you need to be able to convince and persuade your interviewer that they should hire you. Other ways that this can come into play in the workspace, when you are writing a proposal or giving a presentation. This can be both, again, written or verbal communication. Think about when someone is giving a presentation and they have a PowerPoint behind them. So they are actually giving you both written and auditory information that you can hear at the same time. So thinking about the way that those things play together is a part of knowing how to communicate. When you are in meetings with your teams, and when you are interacting with clients are some other really common ways that communication comes up in the workplace. So how can we improve our communication skills, Miss Emily? Get to the point. So I'm going to tell you 2 steps that will help you to improve your communication. First, you need to observe, and you need to be honest with yourself about how well your communication skills are already developed. I call this finding your growing edge. So you need to think about what situations make me feel uncomfortable that have to do with communication, and what situations do I already feel really solid at. So, for example, and this is something that could be used across generations, right? It's not just for professionals. Talking to your mom. For me, especially on the phone. When I talk to my mom on the phone, we often misunderstand each other and also get into arguments. And so I need to use a lot of patience, because if I get frustrated with my mom really easily, we are not going to be communicating well. And you can see that through the fact that we are arguing and misunderstanding each other, right? We're not taking the time to have intentional and thoughtful communication. So that is one way that even I can still continue to work on my communication skills. So think about situations like when you're texting a friend and maybe, again, you're arguing. How do you feel when you open that emotional message? Or do you like talking better versus texting? These are things that will help you to realize, like, hey, I really like talking to people in person. I get super nervous when I have to write an email or a text to them. Whether it is good or bad news, I'm just worried that I'm going to make a mistake, you know? So think about where you are to begin with. Observe, find your growing edge. And then once you find your growing edge, you can move on to the second step, which is finding ways that you can practice. So unfortunately, right, in order to get better at that we are not confident at, we have to practice those things that might make us uncomfortable. So we have to find situations where we can engage that growing edge, where we can be in situations where we are uncomfortable and continue to work through them, right? So I'm never going to communicate better with my mom unless I call her and I practice having patience and we try to communicate without getting frustrated and angry at each other. And this goes both ways, right? You need to practice both situations that you're not as great at and situations that you are good at. So let's say that you love networking. You are great at meeting new people. You just go right up and introduce yourself and strike up a conversation. That's awesome. You can keep practicing so that you can get even better at having deeper conversations with them. Maybe you bringing up a business idea if there's someone that you want to collaborate with, because there's a difference sometimes between small talk and business talk. So there are different levels that you can get to, even if you feel comfortable in general with networking to begin with. So again, we have to practice and grow both in uncomfortable and comfortable situations. Even in comfortable situations, you can find your growing edge. So I hope that this helped you all to learn a little bit more about communication and to realize how important it is and think about some ways you can practice. And I hope that you'll check out some other of our videos to learn more about other power skills that you can improve on to work towards your future career.